Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so today we will talk about factors that are usually slowing the implementation of decentralized systems, decentralized technologies, blockchain technology at all. So today we will talk how existing problems can increase the complexity of this process of adoption the blockchain technology in real world. And there are several factors. The first one is the difficulties of updating the protocol itself. This difficulty is linked with you can have not ordinary state of the network. It means that some of nodes can have like the old software and hardware. Some of nodes can have a new one, and it means you should have a protocol that allows them to work in like single environment and communicate without different difficulties, without different delays, etc. And second one, the problem with responsibility. Everybody knows that truly decentralized system doesn't have any like single authority can resolve all issues. It means that in decentralized system, everybody can resolve its issue themselves, and everybody is responsible for his person, for his software, for his wallets, and so on and so on. The second one, complicated development monetization process. Yeah, it's obviously that if you have some like centralized authority and this authority or I don't know, some quorum of organization are able to, I don't know, to invest some money and time in development of your solution, this obviously is pretty cool, and it will allow you to increase the speed of development itself and providing the solution to the market. But in the decentralized system, like obvious, this kind of donations are absent, and obviously only like enthusiasts and kind of geeks can provide this opportunity to make something possible. The next one is redundancy and higher hardware requirements. We'll discuss it like separately. And the last one, the problem of scalability, and that's obviously this like the problem that every system are going to resolve. And yeah, let's start with difficulties of updating the protocol. You know that in different Bitcoin participants, really only like a small part of them are using the last version of, for example, Bitcoin Core. It means that it's approximately from 10 to 11% of all nodes updated and uses the last version. It means that nobody should trust to each update is issued by a Bitcoin Core team or another team, and that's okay. But at the same time, it means that these like participants, these nodes should interact one with other in the same environment. And as a user of the Bitcoin protocol or another system, you are going to expect a quick response. You are going to have like the same process of reaching some nodes, the same protocol rules, etc., etc. So all participants affects another participants, and it means if some part of the network aren't going to switch to like new version of the protocol, you will use the old one. We can see this process right now when Bitcoin network is going to update with Schnorr protocol and with Taproot protocol. So the community are ready to update the system, so they are going to support Schnorr signatures and Taproot mechanism for compressing like the complex scripts. But right now, this update is supported only by 18% of all like people, but that's not enough for updating system right now. And you know, like a really good example with segregated witness update. So for accepting this update, Bitcoin community spent more than 4 years. So that's not like really fast process. It means that firstly, this update should be really this update should have a lot of abilities of improve the protocol itself. And the second one, you should affect other part of community and provide them a knowledge why that's important. And in Bitcoin, like the threshold, it's approximate, I don't know, 19%. So if 19% of Bitcoin members are going to support some updates, they will do that. But before, like this threshold, it's impossible to update the protocol version. And right now, users can't use like the latest, the latest innovations, the latest technologies, because like that's a decentralized system and everybody takes a responsibility for their own decisions. Second one is the problem of responsibility. It's obvious that in the decentralized environment, everybody is responsible for the process in which he's taken some participant. So it means I will be responsible for all operations with my keys, for storing this keys, for generating this keys, for generating signatures, for backupping these keys, etc., etc. If I started a Bitcoin node, I'm responsible for creating connections with trusted nodes. I'm responsible for sending different messages between nodes. I'm responsible for updating this version of the software. I'm responsible for my, mining equipment. So I'm responsible for everything. If somebody has stolen my keys, I can't create, some alert, or I can't go to like some trusted authority and ask them, please, like, return my money. That's impossible in truly decentralized system. If your system is particularly decentralized, so sometimes yes, it's possible. So if there is some insurance company or something like that, you can reach them and you can receive, some coverage of your loss. So on the picture, it's obvious if, for example, there is some private company and this company lead to broken some, your real estate or something like that, you can go to like lawyers and resolve that. But if in the Bitcoin you lost your keys or somebody have broken your wallet, you can do nothing. The next one, there is a really hard process of monetization of creating the decentralized system, because in centralized systems, it's like obviously you have some company, you have some investors, you have some interested parties that are going to support the system itself, and they are going to make like the system live because they're interested in value of the system. But value of the decentralized system, it's like pretty tight thing, because you can't explain that to everyone, and you should receive some grants, you should receive some like donations, etc. So it's really complicated process. And you know that Bitcoin was created without ISO, without like any foundations. It's like only was like the set of guys, the set of geeks who decided to make something beautiful and make something workable. And now like Bitcoin works as well. But this story can't work for any decentralized system. So we have a lot of bad examples with good ideas. So when some guys proposed some like greatest ideas, but these ideas couldn't stay alive because the development and making these ideas and implementing them in the world requires additional resources. It's time, it's money, this like attention of the community itself. And if this really complex technology, it's obvious that the attention on that of like regular users is decreased, and it's too hard to adopt that. Yeah, so and a lot of people right now looking at the crypto like this cat looking at the monitor, and they are going to receive their money, and they're going to multiply their existing money using like crypto, using the blockchain, using like innovative technologies. But usually people don't need to do something like they're going just to raise some money and I don't know, and just be rich. But really small part of them are ready to create something like innovative, something like beautiful, etc. The next one, these problems is linked with redundancy, high hardware requirements, and low scalability. It means you can develop the architecture of the system that can support, I don't know, dozens of transactions per second. And just imagine that your architecture wasn't built this way that could support 1,000 transactions per second. You can see that in Bitcoin. It can confirm from 3 to 5 transactions per second, and usually, yeah, obviously that's not enough for for paying for like some small things, for paying for everything. And obviously that's the reason why users can't use Bitcoin. I don't say like about Lightning Network of payment channels, but regular Bitcoin can't be used for everything and everywhere, because like the first on the time of full confirmation, they confirm fees. The next one, a lot of minded equipment is used for supporting the Bitcoin protocol, etc., etc. So initially you can create the system that aren't ready for the for the future requirements. And this, like, as you can see on the picture, there is some roads, and if you have only like 4 cars on these roads, that's pretty well. But if you have thousands of cars or hundreds of cars, there are obviously like traffic jams, etc., and this like problems can be resolved right now. So you should like rebuild the architecture of the system at all. And some systems are trying to do that. They're trying to use some like second layer solution, some like sharding technology. They're like trying to improve the basic architecture, but that's possible not always. It's possible not always, and it means that some exist in the centralized system just aren't ready for like platform for the future platform. So you will not use Bitcoin as a like your bank account for paying to like to I don't know, any stuff like this. It's obvious. There is like one more problem. So like really is a problem. It means that you can't. You can, but usually you receive your different wallets, your different applications for controlling your account in the centralized environment. But all these applications are placed in centralized platform. It means if you have iPhone, you can install only like applications from App Store, from Google the same, etc., etc., etc. So these like applications can be controlled by centralized entities. So they can be blocked, they can be censored, etc. So for regular user, it's a pretty complicated task to find something like open sourced and supported by the community and install that themselves for their devices. Sometimes that's impossible at all. And usually like it affects on the adoption of the decentralized technologies in the world. yeah, you know, and in the world, really like small part of people that are ready to create their own software and use the software, because everybody tries to use something like comfortable and already with good interface, with good like UX UI processes. So yeah, that's clear. And you can find this like application on different stores, but that don't guarantee that these applications are secure and that they don't have like any hidden vulnerabilities injected by these companies or somebody else. Also, there is like really famous trilemma. You should select between security, scalability, and decentralization, and it affects any decentralized system. So it can be as secure as possible, but it means that in some component it can be not scalable, and it can be like not decentralized. It means that you can create your own server that stores your private data with encryption, with like everything, but the server will not be scalable because you can't place a lot of like different data on the server. Moreover, you should backup that, you should support that, etc. And the second one, it will not be like decentralized as Bitcoin. In Bitcoin, you have like a high level of decentralization and high level of security, but Bitcoin architecture isn't scalable. Yeah, we can use like Lightning Network, different protocols, but Bitcoin itself isn't scalable at all. So we can't increase the block, the transaction per seconds from 5 transactions per second to I don't know 10, 20, and so on. Your system can be scalable, really scalable. I don't know, just imagine Solana or Near protocol, but this like system not so decentralized as we wanted. It's pretty secure, it's scalable, but that can be not so decentralized. It means that the system can deny service for hours, for days, etc. And yeah, so you should select 2 parameters, or you can select like more parameters, but you should balance, because you can't reach like the highest level of scalability, this highest level of security, and have like the most decentralized system ever. So yeah, and the last our topic, where does it make sense to use a blockchain? Because sometimes you can hear that blockchain, yeah, you can use the blockchain only in decentralized environment because it's suitable only like for decentralized accounting system, for decentralized platform smart contracts, for decentralized registries, but nobody says that it can be used in centralized environments. But that's not correct. And there are different cases where you can use that. But let's see how you can achieve different properties of the blockchain in the first one, decentralized permissionless environment, or some like kind of decentralized accounting system. The second one, partitionally decentralized, like banking system, or I don't know, some system for voting at the like country level. And the last one, how you can use properties of the blockchain in centralized system, in centralized environments that will be controlled only by you. So in like all of cases, you can achieve database integrity verification. It means that over the time, you can be sure that your database, your history of events and transaction wasn't modified. It can be achieved in the decentralized permissionless environment, like the obvious, but as well, it can be achieved in centralized environment. So you can use your own private accounting system that use blockchain technology. And so you just can create a replica of this database, or just anchor this this the databases in the like public environment, and and only like be sure that over the time this history wasn't changed. Using blockchain technology and in centralized systems allows you to reach integrity of all data and the final state of the system. The next one, real-time synchronization and backups. This is also obvious that in the decentralized environment, it just works like from the box, because in Bitcoin, you can't validate the history without your own replica, without your own backup of the like full database. In centralized environment, you can just synchronize your backup instance with the main instance using blockchain technology. And it will be a real-time audit and real-time backup. So it doesn't mean you should create like only one backup per month, per week, per day. So it can be per block. So it's you shouldn't trust for 100% that your internal process in your accounting system are transparent and works like, yeah, and that this process work as you decided, because there can be some like operations errors, some mistakes, some like problems with like your software and hardware, and creating like the separate copy of the database. But block by the block will allow you to anytime like backup your environment and be sure that the main copy of the accounting system, the main like state, wasn't like modified or corrupted. The second one, this consensus among validators in the centralized permissionless environment is available to anyone. So in the Ethereum network, on Monero, Bitcoin, whenever you can be a validator and you can have like any role you want. In particular, decentralized environment, so they can participate in validation process require permissions for some authority. It can be centralized authority, it can be the set of I don't know, voters. It can be voting within the community, but you can't just start your node and validate the history. You should receive some permission. It's also like it's also matter from which entity you will receive this permission. And in centralized permissions environment, only like owner of the platform controls who exactly can receive permissions for validating this network. Moreover, it can be only owner of this platform. It means if you created your own voting system that's like deployed on one server, and only like the server can be controlled only by you, and you can reject like all external connections and be responsible only like for the server. And so only you can be the validator of this accounting system. Okay, the next one, real-time audit. In the centralized system is available to anyone, and blockchain allows you to verify the data like at every time. By the way, you can be sure that the final state of the accounting system is a result of all transactions that were performed in the blockchain. In a particular decentralized system, real-time audit also requires permissions. It means that you can have your own accounting system for some quorum of banks, but you can provide the audit abilities only like to designated parties. For example, like owners of these banks. It means that every owner can receive like the full state of the system and can track like all transactions and all events in this history, but nobody like from external world can receive access to your database and to the final state with accounting, balances, votes, it doesn't matter. So nobody external can receive access to this blockchain. And in centralized permissionless environment, only owner of the platform can receive the data that is processed by this accounting system. The next one proves that accounting system was cheating. Okay, look, by the cheating we can understand some like not only like some misbehavior of validator, but some operational error or some problems with, I don't know, accounting of transaction or something like that. It means that yeah, in this file systems it's obvious that always you have a proof that there was some error in the system. But in the Bitcoin, in the Ethereum, or other like really decentralized protocol, validators will reject your transaction if this transaction wasn't correct, or if this transaction, for example, spends money that doesn't exist, or call method of smart contract that doesn't exist, etc., etc. But for example, in centralized permissioned environment, there can be some transaction that was rejected by the validator, or okay, another example, this transaction was accepted by the validator, but later it's like obvious that this transaction was incorrect. But in like these conditions, if validator accepted this transaction, he can produce his own signature. And if you receive the signature as a user, later you can prove that validator accepted your transaction and updated the like final state, taking into account your transaction. And like this digital check, this digital commitment, you can like solve all issues with owner of this centralized accounting system. Okay, the next one, trust to accounting system. Blockchain can achieve that in a decentralized environment, because in the decentralized environment, you should trust only like 2 months. And to like in assumption that the majority of like all validators and all community members behave and don't corrupt you. In partially decentralized environment, you should trust validators. So you should trust like some list or some quorum of designated parties. But sometimes it's okay, because when you're using like bank services, like obvious you trust the owner of this bank. If you use some I know terminals, you trust that the transaction will not take like more money from your like banking card, and that's okay. So in real like financial world, trust it's like usual thing. But in centralized permissioned environment, you can't trust to everyone, because all processes could be like hidden from the UI and like available only to owner of this platform. It means that you can't be sure that all processes in the system is conducted according to the like predefined rules. Later, yeah, blockchain can allow you to create a light client in the centralized environment. For example, in Bitcoin, there are like simple payment verification mode, and it means that you can create a light client without without need to have your own instance of the blockchain. You can keep only like block headers without like any additional data, and prove that some transaction was added to the blockchain itself. In particular decentralized permissionless environment, this functionality can be developed, but it doesn't have like much sense as in the previous example. In centralized permissioned environment, usually this functionality doesn't make sense at all because audit is permissioned, all processes are permissioned, and it doesn't make sense for the owner of the platform provide like this simple tool for monitoring the state of the blockchain to external users or something like that. And the last point, timestamping. So you can use the centralized permissions environment that use blockchain technology for timestamping some events, for timestamping some data, for anchoring some data. If this accounting system can provide a high level of irreversibility, this like property that guarantees you that after some time, after block information, this block and this transaction will not be reverted. In particular, the centralized permissionless environment also makes sense to timestamp some data, majorly for only like for validators. But yeah, for a regular user, it doesn't make much sense because yes, it's obvious if you want to keep some certificates or some I don't know, public data on the blockchain, you will use Bitcoin, but not some ledger of the private bank or permissioned bank. And it answers on the question why it doesn't make sense in centralized permissionless environment. But by the way, you can anchor the state of the centralized permissioned environment in the centralized permissionless environment and use that as proof of immutability of your local system, not local, but the private one. And after the time, you can prove that the state of your system at the particular time is corresponding to the hash value, the appropriate hash value of the dump of the database or something like that, that is stored in the public blockchain. And you can use this property for storing like any data and only like proof of integrity of this data. Okay, I think that's it. So as we said, it didn't take a lot of time. It's the final version. So if you have some questions, maybe like about this topic, maybe about the previous ones, please ask. And thank you for your attention.
Yes, time for question. So while we're waiting question for us, we are grateful to you. We're waiting for you to receive certificates. And I repeat, in the classroom, there are conditions and some instructions on what to do to get this certificate. And I will add the final test right now. And I'm in distributed lab. We will continue our courses and so see you soon, maybe on other courses. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alex.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't see like any questions. So thank you for your attention. See you later. Yeah, have a nice week. Have a nice exams. So yeah, good luck. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.